To be honest, I never played the game, but considering how many red Studio Series Autobots from War for Cybertron there are, how many more Autobots are red in the game? Just wanted to know. What's going on, everybody? Republic Cinema here, and in this video, we're going to be taking a look at the new Transformers Studio Series Gamer Edition War for Cybertron IRONHIDE. Now, before I continue the review, I just want to point out that I never played those games, and I don't plan on doing so unless they're re-released in the 9th generation consoles. I honestly don't feel like buying a 7th generation console just to play those games. So for now, I'll wait. I did hear that there was supposed to be a re-release of those old Transformers games, like the Cybertron games, and I think Devastation as well. Yeah, that news came out, I think, back in December or earlier last year. I would like to know what's the update. Anyways, here we have the Studio Series figure of IRONHIDE from War for Cybertron, which this figure is based off of the Studio Series Gamer Edition War for Cybertron Ratchet mold. However, there are some differences in terms of not just paint, but also detail, which we'll get to later on. But before we take a look at the figure, let's take a quick look at the packaging. And again, I would like to point out that this is the new style packaging, which does involve the addition of the clear plastic windows and the omission of the studio backdrops and the numbering system. Also, I believe the box is also smaller in size too. But anyways, on the front, you get this nice artwork of the War for Cybertron IRONHIDE and his alt mode, along with some words, names, and logos. On the top of the packaging is the Transformers War for Cybertron logo and IRONHIDE's name. I gotta stop mentioning the bottom of the packaging. It's not worth it. But on the right side of the packaging, you get an extension of the front artwork. And on the left side of the box is the same artwork, just zoomed in. And then, of course, on the back, you get a little more info of what you get inside. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the box art and the box itself. Let's move on to the figure now. To start off with the sculpting, it's all right. Again, I haven't played the actual game nor taken a closer look to the animation design of IRONHIDE, so I'm not 100% sure if this design of the toy is faithful to the actual design or not. But the sculpting still looks cool. I mean, the mechanical detail is alright, I guess. In my opinion, the head sculpt looks cool. And for the painting, most of it is just gray, red, dark silver, light silver, dark gray, along with some blue paint for his eyes, and the more orange paint for the Autobot logo, which I believe is the same paint used for these parts right here. This figure does unfortunately come loaded with kibble. However, most of it is stored securely, therefore preventing the kibble from being messy, especially the kibble at the legs. And I believe the backpack is supposed to be accurate. After all, since the gameplay is on a third-person point of view, you'll be seeing this backpack a lot. For those of you who have played as IRONHIDE in the video game, be sure to let me know in the comments if this backpack is faithful or not. I know the back of the shoulders over here look a little too hollow to be accurate. Also, in my opinion, the arms look a little funny, but I think it's the hands that look a little more weird, especially since there's alt mode kibble on the wrists. They do look useful for hand protection, however. Also, so far, quality on this figure is almost the same as the Ratchet figure that I have. The joints are mostly not too tight or not too loose, except for the head, of course. Also, despite the backpack tabbing in nice and secure, when messing around with this figure a little too much, the backpack will find itself untabbed eventually. But other than that, in my personal opinion, the figure's alright. Now it's time to move on to his accessories. To get it over with, let's just start off with his axe, which is basically the same as Ratchet, just the handle is on a darker shade of gray. The handle for Ratchet was a little lighter. But as for this part, I believe the painting is literally the same thing. Again, to plug the axe onto the hand, you will have to disassemble the two pieces and drive the handle upwards, and then after that, tab it all the way back in. And then here you have IRONHIDE equipped with his axe. But just for fun, here he is equipped with two axes. I don't know why I wanted to include this into the review. I just thought it looked a little cool. For weapon storage, the axe just tabs onto this tab on the back. And there you go. He does also come with another weapon, that being this gun, which if I had to assume what it is, I would probably think it's a sniper, because it kind of looks like one. To plug it onto the arm, all you gotta do is just this, Or if you really wanted to plug it onto his arm, you could have just taken this off and replaced the arm with the gun, and there you have Ironhide equipped with his gun. For weapon storage, there's the slot on the gun, which pegs it onto the back tab again, and yeah, that's pretty much it for the weapon storage. Or at least for his gun. Now, to store them on his back, I do not know how to do that. Or if it's possible. But, you want to see something cool? Untab the arm, untab this, leave it out like so, and there should be this tab, which will peg it onto that slot right there. Go ahead and tab it right there. Collapse these pieces back together, and then collapse the whole backpack. And there's the replaceable arm storage, which also works for the War for Cybertron ratchet, by the way. Forgot to point that out in the review. And yeah, that's pretty much as far as accessories go. Now moving on to articulation, starting off stiff ball joint at the head, which allows the head to look up and down, and swivel. The shoulder pad is on a ball joint and an extra hinge joint, which allows the shoulder pad to shift upwards and downwards and also move out. Full rotation at the arm, bend at the shoulder, bend at the elbow, elbow swivel, wrist swivel, waist swivel, legs can spread, leg can move forward, can also move backwards. Thigh swivel, bend at the knee, the foot can rock from side to side, and the front of the foot can move up and down. And there you have the articulation for Ironhide. It's basically the same as Ratchet's. But now it's time we move on to size comparison. Starting off with some other Studio Series Ironhides, here he is next to the original Studio Series Bayverse Ironhide, Bumblebee Movie Ironhide, 86 Ironhide. And then for some size comparisons with some other Studio Series War for Cybertron Autobots, here he is next to Bumblebee, Optimus Prime, Cliffjumper, Sideswipe, Ratchet. And then for some Studio Series War for Cybertron Decepticons, here he is next to Barricade, Megatron, Starscream, Decepticon Soldier, and lastly Skywarp. Of course, we're not done yet, as I would like to showcase what he looks like along with the rest of his fellow Autobots. And then here he is alongside the rest of the Studio Series War for Cybertron figures all together. Of course, they all look great together, but not only are they slowly but surely building up in numbers, I suppose these figures are also growing on me. I'm actually looking forward to seeing the rest of the Gamer Edition War for Cybertron figures this year. As for next year, however, I don't think there's going to be any War for Cybertron figures next year. Bummer, I guess. Anyways, be sure to leave a comment down below which War for Cybertron Studio Series figure out of all of the Studio Series figures that have been released so far are your favorite. Also, be sure to leave a comment down below which character from the War for Cybertron or even Fall of Cybertron games you think they should make next for the Studio Series. But other than that, I guess that's all I have to say for size comparison, because now I think is a great time to get down to the transformation, which the transformation, again, is the same as Ratchet's, but I'm still going to showcase it. Starting off, untab the backpack, spread these side panels out, move the shoulder pad out, close it in like so. Same thing for the other shoulder pad. Leave the arms out on a T-pose, untab this whole assembly, and then bring it down. After that, you're going to work with the arms. What you're going to do first is just leave this out like so. Untab this right here, rotate this, and just leave it like there for now. As you can see, there's a slot on the shoulder, which is supposed to connect to that tab right there. What you're going to do is move this up a bit, and then make sure that they both close in onto each other. After that, bring this arm up a bit, and then make sure that it tabs in onto that big red tab right there. Same thing for the other arm. Also, you might want to make sure that the head is closed in all the way. After that, collapse this whole assembly and then make sure that it tabs into place. Rotate this whole assembly. And now it's time to work on the legs, which aren't my favorite part of the transformation. Starting off with one leg, make sure that you close in the foot and also collapse the front of the foot downwards. Untab this front piece over here. Shift this assembly all the way upwards until it looks along the lines of something like this. After that, bring this part down over here, make sure that it tabs in. And then do me a favor, leave this part over here for now. Once you're done with that, rotate this whole assembly like so. Leave this facing downwards. After that, you're going to repeat the same steps for the other leg. Anyways, to collapse this whole assembly onto over here, you're going to untab this. Make sure that you get that over there, and then you tab this in, make sure it aligns properly with the other side. This part of the hand is not helping. After that, close this in. Another same thing for the other side later. Your alt mode should be looking like this so far. After that, you're going to want to go ahead and collapse these two onto each other. Same thing with the bottom panels. The middle panels over here too. Tab in these two top panels together and then close them in. And here you have Ironhide in his alt mode, which again is the same as Ratchet's, except I think the front is different. And of course the paint. Everything else, however, I think is the same. And I guess that's it for painting and sculpting for the alt mode. For quality, of course the wheels still roll nicely well. Robot mode kibble is hidden very well. There is little to no robot mode kibble being exposed on the alt mode. I don't know if this counts over here. For weapon storage, the axe tabbed onto these 3 tabs on the top of the alt mode. And then for the gun, there are these 2 tabs over here that should peg in onto those slots on the back of the alt mode. And there you have Ironhide with all of his weapons stored onto his alt mode. Anyways, for a brief comparison, I'm only going to compare him alongside the 2 other War for Cybertron Autobots in their alt modes, but here he is next to Optimus Prime, and then here he is next to Ratchet, and aha! The alt modes do look a little different in terms of sculpt. You just have to look a little more closely. Anyways, here all 3 of them are together, and they look great together. Imagine struggling in the battlefield and you see these 3 pull up to the fight. You best believe the tables will turn, especially for the Decepticons. Anyways, leave a comment down below which alt mode you prefer out of the Ratchet and Ironhide mold. Ironhides or Ratchets? Personally, I choose Optimus Prime, and I think that's pretty much all I had to say for the Studio Series War for Cybertron Ironhide. Overall, I think he is a good repaint and slight remold of the Studio Series War for Cybertron Ratchet, and also a great addition to your Autobot War for Cybertron collection, or your War for Cybertron collection in general. His accessories are okay. The axe is literally the same as Ratchet's, it's just the gun that's different. And yeah, while the transformation does get a little finicky at the latter half of the cycle, the following end result is still a nice looking alt mode for this guy. Anyways, if you're looking to pick this figure up, of course he's available online, but I think he's also available on Walmart. That's why I picked this copy up. Again, I still haven't seen anything from Target or GameStop, but if you have seen this guy at Target or GameStop, be sure to let me know. Also, be sure to let me know down in the comments what you guys think about this figure. And if you like what you saw in this video, be sure to slam that like button, share this with your friends as well, turn on post notifications so that way you don't miss another upload. Let me know how I did in this review, and most importantly, be sure to hit that big red subscribe button. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Thank you very much for watching. Teo!